An active week of weather is anticipated ahead as a storm makes its way to the east this week. This comes as the end of the storm could bring yet another cooldown and the potential for some snow. This video is the full breakdown on the setup over the next 7 to 10 days and beyond. That includes a look at when things could get even colder towards Christmas.
One Nation Weather.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to tune into this video. As always, I greatly appreciate you for being here. If you are new to the channel watching this video, I'd love it if you'd subscribe down below after watching, especially if you want more content from me in the future. But let's go ahead and take a look at what's going to happen as we go into this week, looking into the atmosphere 15 to 20,000 feet with the GFS model solution. And what's going to cause the active weather as we go into this week is the interaction between two pieces. You can identify them on the screen as that orange area in the east and the blue area making its way into the central United States. This orange area is better known meteorologically as a ridge, where the jet stream is being pushed northward from the Mississippi Valley all the way over here to the east coast. We are going to see warmer than average temperatures as a result of that to kick off the week. We're also going to see a lot of moisture flowing north, and just as that begins to occur, we're going to see cool air coming in right on cue from the north central U.S. and the Rockies beginning to push east out of Monday into Tuesday. The interaction between those two air masses, and really any air mass just like this, typically can cause an active weather pattern, and that's exactly what we're going to see out of Monday into Tuesday and into Wednesday, especially as the trough digs down in a more sharp manner just like so. That is going to mean that we are going to see more of a negative tilt to that trough. You can see that's where it's going, more vertically oriented here in the east, and when you've got a vertically oriented trough just like so, it can actually mean that the end of our low pressures here could end with some snowfall, especially as you go up here into the interior northeast. So an active week of rain for a lot of zones, but we could even transition to snow to cap off this event Wednesday into Thursday as a result of this cool air rushing in quickly. Either way, it looks like a very chilly finish to the week for the eastern U.S., but just as quickly as we cool down, we could warm back up by the upcoming weekend. I'll break down the longer range pattern, of course, a little bit more later in the video, but let's go ahead and start off by taking a look at how much rain and just total precipitation is expected through the middle to the back half of this week as a result of the active weather pattern. Look at this. By the time we go through our Thursday morning, you can see the results of that trough and ridge interacting. This is where that interaction really begins, and then it pushes east from there, and the best chance for heavy rain is going to be from the southeast all the way up through the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and then into the northeast U.S., where several inches of rain could fall in some zones by the end of the week as a result of all of our rain, and then eventually some of that snow moving in. Let me show you the timing for this active weather pattern. It all begins as early as our Monday, December 9th of 2024, with an initial low pressure system kind of working its way out of the mid-south, pushing on up here. You can see by our Monday morning commute making its way up towards the Ohio Valley. Let me skip ahead an additional 3 hours. Here we go towards around the exact commute time frame for a lot of folks, 5, 6, 7 in the morning Monday. Very rainy from the Ohio Valley down to the mid-south, but this is just nuisance rain, nothing too significant. No crazy thunderstorms, and generally while that's occurring, we're just noticing some cooler and drier air overall. Not much snow back here, although a little bit into the north central plains. Eventually, as we head out of Monday and towards Tuesday, there's going to be more of an interaction between these two air masses as I was showing you earlier. But first, a little bit of rain late Monday, heading as you go towards parts of the mid-Atlantic and northeast U.S., a little bit of interior northeast snow, but then that real interaction between the trough and the ridge occurs starting around the early morning time frame of our Wednesday, December 11th of 2024 in particular. Notice a chance not only for some stronger thunderstorms possible down here in the southeast U.S., but rain right out ahead of our trough all the way up the east coast. And then, as all this moisture just continues kind of slowly making its way to the north in a relative way in terms of how slow it's moving, notice what happens. A final low pressure possible to kick off this event some point around Wednesday afternoon and evening. And if this were to set up like so, very heavy rain and gusty winds all the way up the east coast to finish our Wednesday, maybe even some stronger thunderstorms as you push further south. And then to kick off the end of this event, it looks like some very heavy snow could wrap around, beginning around Ohio and Kentucky, and then pushing into the central and northern Appalachians. And this could be a very heavy burst of snow. This is definitely a more bullish solution with the GFS model, but up here into parts of central PA and then moving up into New York, a very heavy burst of snow could get going late Wednesday, heading into our early Thursday. So be on the lookout for that. Coastal areas would probably just see rain and just maybe a few flakes to finish this event, as you can see here. By the time we go through our Thursday morning and into the afternoon, the cool air continues, but these storms are essentially gone for everyone, and we're just looking at the lake effect snow to finish off this event for some. And then from there, it looks like we'll warm back up by the time we go into the upcoming weekend. But as I mentioned earlier, we will talk more about that later on in the video. In terms of actual forecast snowfall as we make our way through the week ahead, while there is going to be some snow in usual spots that get snow this time of the year through the Mountain West and then up into the North Central Plains, the really target zone that obviously I've been talking about is with this event that's going to begin somewhere right around here or maybe a bit further east, and then kind of push its way up through the rest of the interior Northeast as our event kind of finishes off around Wednesday into early Thursday. It really looks like the best chance for heaviest snow is indicated by these blues on the GFS ensemble members here. High confidence snow possibly, and it could be quite a bit in a quick period of time through northern Pennsylvania, into parts of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. In terms of who has that best chance of seeing snow as of now, I made a quick graphic for you here called the Snowy Zones for Midweek graphic. This is for Wednesday into Wednesday night and Thursday for the Ohio Valley into the northeastern United States. You can see snow is possible, I think, as you make your way out of Ohio and Kentucky and then begin pushing into parts of West Virginia, but especially as you make your way through northwest parts of Maryland and the little sliver of the state there, through central parts of Pennsylvania around the State College region, up through a lot of central New York, including Syracuse and Albany, and then into most of Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and western Maine. That is where the models are showing that highest confidence for our snow stripe as a result of the midweek winter storm. And then as you go towards the coast, notice that confidence fades once again. And I know a lot of you snow lovers out there are probably disappointed by seeing this, but really the model confidence remains low for coastal zones, especially along the I-95 corridor, to get snow by the middle of the back half of this week. It doesn't matter whether the answer to the equation for you, though, is snow or no, because as we make our way through next week, we are definitely going to see yet another cool down entering the weather pattern. First of all, here as we make our way out of Monday into Tuesday, just to show you what I was showing you with the mid-level pattern in a little bit more detail here, there's that warmer than average air with our ridge. Here begins some of that cooler than average air, at least near to below average air through the Central Plains late Tuesday with our trough. As that trough only becomes deeper out of Tuesday into Wednesday, resulting in the winter storm in the east. Look at how that cool air is going to make its way down. The temperature anomalies coming out of the north central United States, making their way down into the Ohio Valley and East Coast, are going to be quite cool, and the models have continued uptrending on how strong this cool down is going to be by the time we go to the end of this week. Late Thursday, this flow from the northwest to the southeast like so could bring temperatures in a widespread fashion 15, 20, 25 degrees below average, especially here into some parts of the upper Midwest, diving down into the rest of the Midwest and Ohio Valley. It is going to be a very chilly finish to the week. But again, as I mentioned earlier, that ridge, or yet another ridge, is going to enter the pattern just as quickly as the other one faded away. So we've already got troughing being forced all the way to the East Coast by our Friday and into our early Saturday, with the anomalies on the cooler side finishing there. And then look at this, a warmer pattern showing up on the ensembles once again further down the line. In terms of what this looks like with our actual temperature numbers, let's go day by day as we make our way through the week ahead. Let's start off here as we go into the afternoon of our Monday, December 9th of 2024. Notice most of the country 50s, 60s, and 70s here, especially if you are around and just to that southeast of the upper Mississippi Valley and the north central plains. As we make our way out of our Monday and into our Tuesday, the contrast really builds between the northern U.S. and the southeast. Here's kind of our general cool front making its way along. Freezing line right along here through central Illinois and Indiana, where we've got 20s back to the northwest. Meanwhile, out ahead of this, with all this moisture and the stout southerly flow through the east, plenty more 50s as you make your way here into the mid-Atlantic and Ohio Valley, 60s back down through the southern Appalachians, and even 70s as you go towards the Gulf Coast. And this is why late Tuesday we could even see some isolated severe weather, and of course that in addition to the flooding through some parts of the southeast U.S. By Wednesday, most of our warmth is being pushed to the East Coast, but, again, that chance for snow is really only going to begin to filter in from the Ohio region and then into interior northeast zones as we go out of Wednesday into Wednesday night, because the coast still dealing with 50s and 60s for highs Wednesday afternoon. Look at the cold back up here in the upper Midwest Wednesday afternoon, though it is still downright chilly, single digits to the lower teens Wednesday. And then by the time we go into our Thursday, this is really that coldest day for a lot of spots. We are anywhere from around 0 to 10 and feeling even cooler north of this line on Thursday. And this line right here is your freezing line for high temperatures. So, heck, even as far south as Kentucky and in northern parts of the state of Virginia, it's going to be around freezing for the peak high temperature behind this storm heading into our Thursday afternoon. And, of course, we'll deal with a lot of lake effect snow as we've got 20s and 30s here into the interior northeast. By Friday, I think I might have a lot of you saying, here we go again, because we're going to set up yet another similar pattern to what we're going to see Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, as we'll see warmth building near the Gulf Coast and eventually kind of set up to make its way back up here to the north. 40s and 50s already trying to make their way up towards at least Missouri and Kansas for highs by Friday. And look at this, by Saturday, a lot more 40s filling in all the way up here, even into the Great Lakes region, where highs could probably be more like freezing this time of the year, technically, in a lot of cases. One thing I do want to talk about, though, and I know this is speculation and a little bit of a longer range outlook, is the longer range precipitation pattern here with the European future radar. Notice, first of all, here's the storm late this week. Again, pretty similar thing to the GFS, snow breaking out of the back end of the storm into the interior northeast. But other than that, we warm back up by the time we go into the upcoming weekend, so that would probably mean whatever happens then would just be some rain for a lot of folks, maybe light to moderate rain in a bunch of cases. When I think things get more interesting for snow lovers is by the time we go into the beginning of the following week. That's when we could see more of a bigger snowstorm possible somewhere into the central and eastern U.S. And the reason I say that is more of a possibility already this far out is because a more active weather pattern with cooler air diving down in the jet stream is showing up on pretty much every single model. Even ensembles, which is like a collection of models being blended together, show averages of temperatures going cooler than average as we go towards the middle to even the back half of December, heading out of the central to the eastern U.S. So it's a lot of speculation right now, but what this European model is showing with several chances for snowstorms in various areas by the time we go towards the days leading up to Christmas might not be too far off. I think it's certainly something to at least track. Either way, I'll keep you updated on all the weather ahead. Here's a quick recap, by the way, for this video and everything I just covered for you here. A quick hitting storm system, or multiple of them, in fact, are expected through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then as we go towards Thursday of the week ahead, that's when the event could finish off Wednesday into Thursday with a snow chance, and then that cool down, especially the further north and east you go in the U.S. Warmer and active weather is expected once again very soon by the time we go to the end of this week and the upcoming weekend. That could include more rain moving north as 40s and 50s also do the same by the weekend. Will something big happen by Christmas, though, where we transform to maybe even a lot of areas seeing a white Christmas? I wouldn't fully rule that out, and that's why I want you to, of course, stay tuned right here at One Nation Weather for all the future updates. If you hit that subscribe button right down below, you'll help me at reaching my next goal of 7,000 subscribers, and you'll stay notified with consistent, accurate, and educational forecasts. I'll see you in the next update, likely sometime in the next few days.
One Nation Weather.